earning the respect from your teammates, and also giving that respect back to your teammates, is being able to see that guys go through struggles, that guys go through different things, that you might have a stat or performance that looks better than them on paper or whatever, but that doesn't matter because there's a group of you that are going to have to make it happen. If you can't learn to find out how to make all the pieces work together, well, then you're just going out there playing solo, and it's not good for anyone. I mean, that's baseball is such a solo sport inside of a team sport. So you have to learn how to manipulate that and how to combine it to work where everybody is pushing the same direction and kind of using their ability and their talent all together.
Better slap on that bug spray, folks, because that is a big fly.
Oh my gosh.
Thanks.
That is strong.
Yeah.
Right. And the 1-0 is crunched deep to left field. And the likelihood of that ball staying in the park is gone.
See, that one is so dependent on your delivery, and you delivered it like a mailman. I
had to,
like Karl Malone.
Every day. Yeah, 6 days a week. Take Sunday off, just like a mailman.
Just deliver that puppy. Stockton was always the deliverer of the ball, but Karl Malone is known as the mailman. So
that's true.
Did you ever think about that?
Not enough, obviously, but also I would like to give you a little bit of a glimpse of how I think about late night TV, right?
Yes.
Your home run call was Jay Leno. Extremely well written. Just an ultimate pro. And mine was David Letterman, right? The writing's not quite the same, but the way he delivers it is what kind of set Letterman apart. So that was a Letterman Leno just display.
Dialed in right there. Big time.
Not wrong. Yeah.
And then I've got the Johnny Carson microphone. And, I think Conan O'Brien once had your beard. So
wild stuff. I did not know that.
I did not know that.
Yes.
Can't wait to read his book, by the way. He's got a biography out that I think Ed McMahon helped write. So I want to read that. But
Conan O'Brien?
No, Johnny. Johnny Carson.
I know.
Yes. I think we're on episode 25. It might be 26. Either way, we're getting into the weeds of it. And who's our guest today, Chopper?
Matt Cain, 3-time World Series champion. Wikipedia is wrong on that. They had him as a 2-time, but I'm here to tell you, I was there in 2014, and so was he. Yeah, 3-time.
3 rings.
3 rings, 3 All-Star appearances. Great dude. Nearly named my man cave after Matt Cain, but we ended up not purchasing that home. A story for another time. But Matt Cain, he's great.
Rolls off the tongue. Matt Cain man cave.
That was the point. It was an alliteration, so I liked it. And he tipped me so much on the plane when I was doing cards that I told him he's funding my man cave. And very generous human, great dude.
The highlighted words for today's Matt Cain biography: horse, big daddy, leader, consistent, perfect game, complete game machine, and he hits bombs. That's what I highlighted. He allowed 0 earned runs in the 2010 playoff run. That was his first playoff run. He had what did he have? 15 complete games, 6 shutouts in his career. Like, the guy could just go all the way. And his nickname is the Horse. And they also called him Big Sugar and Big Daddy.
Big Sugar.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
So
incredible nicknames, but just a horse. That's all you can say about that dude. And you know him way better than I. So I look forward to jumping in with him. He'll be on in maybe 15 minutes or so, but I had some topics at the top. I had some folks sliding into my DMs with some questions, some topics we can talk about. But before we get to those, what's going on your end, man? You're a high school baseball coach. How we doing?
Man, boys are doing well. We just had a little retreat over the weekend. We escaped up to the White Mountains and just spent some time just loving on each other. And just it's just such a special group. Love these kids.
Wait, you just did a little getaway. There's no games.
No, yeah, we went, we had a game on Friday night, and interesting. The boys got down 9-2 after the first inning. So that's something that normally a lot of folks would panic, and just called them in front of the dugout and said, hey, if I had to choose between, getting up really big or getting down really big, I would choose the latter. And I want to see your resolve and your character. And the boys scored 22 unanswered runs, and we won 24-9. So,
man, wow, mixing in a little football with your baseball there.
Hey, these kids are playing football. We're averaging like 16 runs a game. So the boys bring their bats, and they bring love for each other. They bring respect for their opponents and the umpires. And I'm extremely proud of this group. So we had a game Friday night, and then we drove up about a 3-hour drive up to the mountains and stayed in a cabin. We all piled into this big, really beautiful cabin, and just a great time, just hanging out. We actually went and worked out on Saturday at a local city field, and just got our work in. And, we always say we work hard and we play hard. So we got our form running drills, and Coach Debbie recommended a static stretch. And then we did what we call as our infielder boot camp, where we're just working on footwork and just fundamentals, man. And extremely hardworking group. I love these boys, and I'm just so extremely thankful to be a part of their lives. So it's really cool. Yeah, really exciting.
Oh, come on. A testament to quality coaching. And I know you don't want to hear that, but my gosh, quality time with those kiddos. And, when you can set up a culture where let's fail, let's be free, let's be positive, let's prioritize what's really important here, then the kids play better. They play better. I'm going to make a video today of why I don't yell at my players in a game. And I'm going to sit beside one of my stuffed animals. I've got a big monkey, and I'm going to stick an iPad in front of it. And I'm going to say, now, are you going to yell at your kid while they're on their iPad or they're on their video games and just dissect every single bad button they push? Stop pushing that button. Push the A, push the B. Come on, do better. Don't strike out in this video game here, right? They're going to quit the video game, right? If they're reading a book and you're just telling, wait, take that comma, use it, now move on. You can read that word a little bit more clearly. They're going to hate reading, right? Yep. When you are just in them every second of a baseball game, they're not going to want to play the game of baseball. And it leads me to my first topic at the top here, a question a parent just asked, and they have a kid that just doesn't want to be there. They don't want to play. And I don't know how old this kid is, but I thought it would be a good topic to talk about. Should you allow your kid to quit if they don't like being there, if they don't want to be there? I have definitely, I think it's not a one answer fits all here. I think there's a lot of different questions to be answered, but where do you go on that topic, Chopper?
It's tricky. As a parent, I won't let my kid quit, and I think you have to find your kid's passion. So ideally you find that out before, right? So you're not in this bit of a predicament where you kind of forced your kid because you like a sport maybe, or whatever the case may be, or maybe they said they wanted to do it, but then it's not as fun as they thought, or it's boring. Baseball can be boring. You've heard that before, and I've heard that before. And it just means it's not being taught the right way, and it's not being handled with the proper care of like making sure they know how fun it really is and all the ins and outs of it. But your kid, they have to find their passion, right? But I personally, like, if my kids sign up for something or they want to do it, they need to do it. And you made a commitment to your teammate, to the coach, to yourself, and you need to follow through. So that's just my opinion on it. And I don't think we've been perfect as a family. I want to say one of our boys didn't finish a season once because he was playing football and the coach was mean to him and he shut it down. So a little bit hypocritical, but it is what it is. There's other items where it's like, okay, well, that's not a great environment for my son. So maybe you pull him from that. But I don't think it's black and white. I think it's a little bit gray, but I do know that as parents, you got to find what your kids are passionate about, and they need something, because you don't want them to be idle hands, is a problem, obviously, as they get older too. So
it's very gray, and you have to, I think for me, the most important thing I look at is that season or that coach or that moment pushing them completely away from the game, completely away from the love, where they're not going to come back. That is a moment where, and I agree with you. My knee-jerk reaction is I would never let my kid quit anything, but there's definitely moments when I'm working and Tara Jean just can't get both kids to where they need to be. So we find what they're passionate about. Right now, it's not baseball, either of them. It's dance and it's gymnastics. And so we lean on that. And are we going to allow them to quit something that they're passionate about? Absolutely not. But if the logistics just doesn't work, or we just can't get them to certain places, then we might, have to say we just can't play that whole season. But I think you challenge them to try and stay with it, just to learn that life lesson of a lot of things just aren't going to be great, and you're going to have to try to respond as best you can. But there are moments when there's certain coaches or certain atmospheres, cultures that are pushing them away from that thing that they love. And I do think that deserves a conversation. And I think it deserves a one-on-one with the coach, if that's the case. Yeah, you can't push them away. And I'll say this to some parents that ask me, you're actually saving their baseball lives. You're saving their love of the game by having this tough conversation with this coach. But it kind of leads into another area and it was another question asked by another parent, like the kid loves the game, but they're ADHD, or they have attention deficit disorder, and they're just they're kind of all over the place, and they're out there in right field. What can a coach do for a kid that loves the game, but possibly, I'm not sure what it might be, but there's some ADHD there. They're not. It's not easy for them to be engaged by baseball. Well, what can we do with that?
And the old practice plan where it's like, okay, one guy hits and everyone stands around watching, like that ain't it. So as coaches, if we're doing that, that's not the play. Get them in groups, get them in small groups, get them in rotations. There should not be standing around. So that's kind of up to the coach as well. I got plenty of kids that have attention deficit disorders. They don't have an issue with our practices because we're moving and we're shaking and we're doing stuff and we're not standing around. And that's how you maximize your time. So I think baseball is a great game for that. Hey, speaking of just being awesome, just jumped right in. You let him right in, huh?
I just let him right in. Podcast. Our guest is here. As he's jumping in, I'll close up on that point you were making. Yeah, coaches, keep it moving. Keep everything moving, and then I don't think you'll run into that problem. And if we do have a scrimmage where there's a hitter hitting and there's fielders fielding, then I'll make sure that the game moves fast. I'll make sure that it's like maybe we're soft tossing, so the balls being put in play really, all the time. Just not a lot of standing around. So with that, our guest is here, and Chopper, I'm going to let you do the introduction here. Who is our guest today?
And this young man is, the only blemish on his record is one fateful day back when he was pitching for Hagerstown. And he faced. But three-time All-Star, three-time World Series champion, threw a perfect game June 13th, 2012. Tremendous human. Well-respected throughout the game. And a friend of mine, Matthew Cain, is on the show today. Matt, welcome to the program.
Hey, man, you went fully official, full name, mom. You dropped a mom name on me, everything.
I did, dude. I did. Wow. Welcome to the show, man. We're so happy to have you, dude. How's it going?
No, I appreciate it. No, it's going good. It's going really good. No, it's going to be a fun time.
Perfect. Yeah. Coach Ballgame, what do you got?
Matt, just great to meet you. Watched you. I'm actually older than you, but I feel like I grew up watching you pitch. So the things that I highlighted on my paper with you today, things I would want to teach all the kids that I coach: leader, consistent, complete game machine, horse. I think they called you Big Daddy and Big Sugar at one point in your life.
Different reasons for that one.
But I mean, it really is amazing to look at your stretch of, 15 complete games, 6 shutouts. You go down the line, things you don't see anymore in the game of baseball. But glad to have you on, and I'll just start with where do we find you these days? Where are you?
I'm up north of San Francisco, about an hour. Yeah, we just fell in love with the Bay Area, and once we got done, we didn't really know what we wanted to do. So my wife started getting connected into the horse world, and this is kind of where we landed. So we're loving it, working on trying to build a property and just make it a whole community of horses and horsepower as well, because I'm into cars. So it's good for myself, my wife, and my girls. And so, yeah, we're just trying to live it.
Speaking on horses, the thing I ask every kid I coach right out of the gates is, what's your nickname? And I don't know if this was given to you or early on or later in your career, but the horse was a nickname. Is that true? And if so, where did that start?
I think Kruk and Kipe started it. I think my first full year, I think I was about 10 innings shy of doing 200 innings. And then from 2007 on, for the next 5 or 6 years, I was able to do 200 innings. And I think that at some point in there, they started nicknaming me the horse. And that's just how I grew up, man. I grew up watching, Clemens and Pettit, Maddox and Smoltz, and these guys learn how to pitch deep into a game. And that was such an art that I didn't have as a young guy. So it took a while to get used to. And it was something that I was definitely very proud of.
No doubt about it. And I love those pitchers that can hang in there in the 7th and 8th. And I looked at the numbers last year. Adam Wainwright had 3 complete games last year. And I think Zach Wheeler had a couple as well, but you just don't see it much anymore. Is there a secret to it? Obviously, in the culture of baseball now, that you're going to go through the order twice and be done. But did you have a secret for getting through the order that 3rd time? What'd you do?
Yeah, stop trying to strike everybody out with 2 pitches, because you can't do it in 2 pitches. So once I learned that, wait a minute, Greg Maddux is 45 years old and he's going out there and he's beating me, and I'm like, well, what's going on? Well, it's because he's pitching quick and he's keeping his guys loose and he's getting those guys back in the dugout to score some runs. So once I started to see that in live person and what the veteran guys were doing to get deep into a game, I'm like, all right, these strikeouts don't mean anything. They look great on paper, but they weren't winning us ball games. They weren't getting us deep into the game to where we could use our bullpen when we needed to use our bullpen before it came into a big bullpen game, like it is now. But I think even those guys, you see what Wainwright's doing at his age. He's pitching deep into a game. He's saving his bullpen guys down the road. And man, that when we got our staff to do the whole thing and we all connected that way, that's what really made the championship teams, is because we had bullpen guys to be able to use in those key situations in the playoffs.
Oh, it's fun to watch. And some of the games that you'd pitch, they were under 2 hours. Same with a Maddox, where you're just missing barrels, but getting outs quickly. Chopper, how do you teach your high school players to go that Matt Cain route?
Yeah, pitch to contact. Everybody likes to punch tickets, but like, you got to pitch to contact, especially later in the lineup, like the high school level. Like once you get through like the 5, 6 hole, 7, 8, 9 should be heaters down and away. Good luck with it. Here it is. And we'll set our defense where we think they're going to hit the ball. And those guys got to be out within 1 or 2 pitches. And that's, got a big game tonight, and it's our ace is on the bump, and it's like, hey, like, you got to get through this game. And now there's pitch counts at the high school level. So it's like, you don't do it, you can't finish the game. You don't get to be Matt Cain that night. But that's what we do, is just try to pitch to contact. And then I want them to have a secondary pitch they can steal a strike with. Right. So in those 1-0, 2-0 counts, you should have a pitch that's not a heater that you can throw for a strike kind of on command. And that's a really important key too. Question I have for you, Matthew. I'm gonna stick with Matthew. I like it. It rolls off the tongue.
There we go. We're going for it.
If you
All right,
didn't
Chadwick.
play baseball, what sport would you have pursued? You're a really good golfer. I've seen that firsthand. But what do you got?
I don't know if it would have gone. I think at an earlier age, I probably would have said golf. But I've always enjoyed cars and vehicles. So it might be a toss up between that and a race car driver of some sort. I don't know whether it'd be in the race car industry or not, or just mechanic side, but it'd be hard to say between those two. Cause that the driving side of it has come on later in life, but I've always had a passion for vehicles and driving cars and trying to find out what a car will actually do and the limits of it. But man, I loved playing golf and I still enjoy playing golf. So I guess it would, as a kid, yeah, I'd probably say I would try to pursue the golf side of it. But knowing how much of a passion I have for vehicles, it would be probably cars.
And before you came on, we were just talking about this, about parents sent us in questions about a kid who doesn't love baseball and on a team and kind of stuck in this limbo. And the word we used was like, find what your kid's passionate about, right?
Yeah,
if they
right.
want to be a mechanic and love it. And it's great. And if you have a passion for what you're doing, it's not work. So I love that. That's great.
Yeah. I mean, and I feel like that's where you did a tremendous job of that. You might not have been exactly in the role that you wanted to be in when we were together with the team, but you found a way to connect to guys, to bring guys up, to just move around and not just be stuck even in the role that you were in and you were hired to do. You found ways to do that to its extreme. And then you found ways to connect the guys to motivate them and push them. And that's what everything in life that we have has that opportunity if we allow that open-handedness to be able to come and receive it.
Yeah. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Coach Ballgame.
I think I'm realizing this intangible, why are the Giants so good? Why are the Dodgers so good? And we keep talking about, this intangible thing, but I think it's Chad Chop. I think it's Chopper. It's
I
the
love
glue,
that. Put
right?
that on a stone somewhere. No, man, I was lucky to be around some amazing humans. And my goal every day, Matt knows this, was just to come in and be a light and breathe life and encourage and just love on these guys and remind them that they're the very best in the world at what they do. It was a blessing to be with these guys. So lucky.
And I mean, we've had Hunter Pence on, we just had Jock Peterson on, and Chopper they'd go into a room and have dig me sessions where Chad Chop would just dig on them and just, Matt
are
Matt
awesome.
And I did that. You're great. Like, how cool is that? Matt, I want to get into the clubhouse of the Giants and all that, but going back, born in Alabama, grew up in Tennessee, I believe. Was there a mentor or coach that helped you fall in love with the game? Like a Chopper or I try to do at the youth level. Did you have somebody that I don't know, made you fall in love with the game?
Yeah, I mean, I had always had a passion for the game, but never was like a huge fan of it. Like, we just didn't watch a bunch of the games or anything like that. So my dad played, and then my granddad was always kind of passionate about it. But I think what really started to push me over the top was being able to get actual lessons from somebody that had that next tier, and it was professional coaching, and his name was Mauro Gazzo. And when my granddad found, his one ad in the newspaper, we went up and started doing lessons, and we started doing lessons just in the backyard. And he was that big brother, but that person that was like, wait a minute, like, he's done this before. He knows what it takes to get there. And he knows the levels that I need to kind of go through to break in all those ceilings that I need to keep pushing past. So he was really the man that got me more passionate about the game, more in tune with the game, and figuring out like, hey, it's not just going out there and playing. There's a lot more to it, and still enjoying it and making that a passion and making it fun, and not just going out there and grinding and thinking it's a job and somebody's hounding you to go do it. It's like, hey, we're going out there, we're dialing it in, and we're gonna find a way to make our tools that we have as an ability inside of us as best we can.
That's awesome. And that was my gig for about a decade. and it might have been under a floodlight behind a McDonald's or in somebody's backyard, but just doing one-on-one lessons for that upper tier player, that kid that wants to play middle school or high school baseball. And I absolutely loved it. It felt more like a therapy session than anything else. But now I've kind of transferred lanes into the newcomer and just reeling them in and making them fall in love with the game. But you find that Chad Chop, you find that one person that really gets where you're at in your baseball career and can just help you along in a healthy way. There's no substitute. So awesome.
The key ingredient for coaches that are looking, obviously you have to know the game, right? You have to be able to, and that experience and everything, that's critical. But once you remove it from like, hey, this is about me, and you make it about the player, that's when you can truly connect. So coaches that are listening, like put your ego aside. And it may mean that you ask the kid to try something or the player to try something and they don't like it. You got to be okay with that, because it's not your career, it's theirs. And everything I tell a kid is like, hey, just try it. If you don't like it, I'm a big boy with big shoulders. I want you to succeed. It's not about me, but I think this will help you. And if you don't like it, discard it. And that's totally okay. We'll find another way to get you to where we think you can go or where you can go.
Yeah,
Question
I think you nailed
ahead.
that, Chop. I think a lot of coaches go into it that way, and then they'll accidentally start seeing success and start trying to find a way to make a stamp for themselves, make a name for themselves, make a label. And now they've kind of lost the track of it. That stuff will all come if it comes, but it's not about you. And that's where Morrow was great about it. He just wanted to see the best out of his students. He didn't care if we said anything about it, if we did anything about it. He just wanted to see, hey, you know what, we got to our full potential, and then let it go from there and see what we're going to take with it.
I love it. That's great. Question I have for you. What makes a good teammate? I'm excited to hear this from you.
Oh man, what makes a good teammate?
Yeah.
I think respect. I think respecting, earning the respect from your teammates, and also giving that respect back to your teammates, is being able to see that guys go through struggles, that guys go through different things, that you might have a stat or performance that looks better than them on paper or whatever, but that doesn't matter, because there's a group of you that are going to have to make it happen. If you can't learn to find out how to make all the pieces work together, well, then you're just going out there playing solo, and it's not good for anyone. I mean, that's baseball is such a solo sport inside of a team sport. So you have to learn how to manipulate that and how to combine it to work where everybody is pushing the same direction and kind of using their ability and their talent all together. And it doesn't have to be all in line either. They don't have to have the same mental thought, the same work ethic. It's all trying to get the same job done and using it in all different ways.
I had a really, really good player back in 2013 that was going to the U of A, and very selfish. And that it is what it is. Like there's some of that in probably in all of us. But I had that talk with him, like, hey, dude, you can't do this by yourself, and I'm going to show you. So I said, go to the mound, really good pitcher, by himself, throw a ball. He looked at me. I'm like, yeah, throw a ball. There's nobody behind the plate, right? And the ball goes to the backstop. It's like, yeah, so you do that 3 times in a row. You strike the kid out. Does he get to first? Yeah. So like, great that you're really good, but like you have to elevate your teammates and you have to respect them. And that's how we're going to maximize this season. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I love that. Coach Ballgame.
Well, you got into the show quick at an early age, and you started putting up big numbers. But was there a moment or a shift in that Giants clubhouse? Can you pinpoint a moment or two where you started to notice this feels different? This feels like a World Series championship kind of club?
I would say in 2009, we started to see some of that shift. We started to see, we started to get the results from the few years that we were really grinding and everybody was moving around and we were all trying to figure out what we could do. And, you know, Timmy was coming up. Timmy, he won back-to-back Cy Youngs in 8 and 9, I think. We had guys that were coming up. Buster was on the door coming up. Bum was on the door. We had pieces that were brought in, with Renneria, and it's just there's so many things that were coming together in 2009 that were like, hey, like these guys are going to mix the old with the new, and we're going to find a way to sandwich all these together, and something is coming in the right direction. So in 9, we started to see that. And I remember talking about in 2000, I think it was in 2010, or it might've been in 9, but they asked me to say something. And I was like, well, the wins that we had last year, if we don't have more than that, we'll be disappointed. And we all believed it. And it was like around that 500 mark. And that was something that we all wanted to do, is to push ourselves. And man, it just started to kind of come together in 10.
And watching on TV, great pitching, great defense, timely hitting, which is just a cliche. But talking to a guy like Hunter Pence or Brandon Crawford or Brandon Belt, they've all been on the podcast. There was just something special. Evan Longoria, same thing. I think Chris Bryant said it last year. Those Giants, they just put their head down and work. They just put their head down and go to work. What can you say about that clubhouse that it was just able to win that big game? What was it about that club?
Well, that's all we did. Like we won. That was the only way we learned how to win. We were taught in a way like how to win by close margins. We were scrapping all the way through it. So like in 06, 07, 08, 09, like we never blew teams away. So the guys that were there, that was just standard for us. And then 2010, we started getting some offense, and we started getting back into the bullpen. We got a rotation. Like that was just how we were living. So when it got to the playoffs, we didn't know any better. We weren't expecting to go out and blow somebody away. That was never going to happen. It was almost uncomfortable. So we embraced it. We didn't think anything of it. I know it was awful to watch because it was torture for sure, but that was just the way that we did it. And we just kept carrying it on. And so we didn't add any more stress.
Love that word, grind. It comes up a lot, doesn't it, Chopper?
It does. And the one thing that is cool, because I get there 2014, right? And it gets to playoff time, and the amount of calmness that I felt, you could feel in the clubhouse, like, hey, now we go. Like, this is where we go, and it blew me away. Like, I remember to this day, like, just how impressed I was by, like, hey, should be stressful. You know what I mean? Like, this is a big deal. We're going into Pittsburgh. We're about to do some things. And it's like win or go home. And these boys were just, joking and calm. And it was so impressive just to see these men just stay in the moment and have fun and just trust each other. It was powerful. So for me as a coach, man, I lean on that all the time of like, boys, there's no such thing as a big moment. Like, it's just another moment, and I learned that from the Giants. I learned that from Matt and his teammates, and just a special group of men. Really cool. Question I have for you, Matt, what is it like to be in the zone? Or if you can take us back into that perfect game, like is it just you're carefree, or is there a level where you're like, dude, like I'm just locked in?
Yeah, I think it's just like completely just being like grounded in that moment. Like it's none of the other distractions are coming in. None of the other distractions are going out. You're just constantly participating in the situation that you're in. And that can be taken into everything that you do, whether it's just driving a car, you're just in the moment, you're driving along. And how many times have you ever been driving along and all of a sudden you're like, I don't remember the last 10 minutes.
Yes.
And it's just because you're part of the vehicle. Then you're a part of the motion that's going forward for the next 10 minutes. You did everything perfectly behind you, but it's like the same thing. I don't remember half of the perfect game, because I was just a part of everything that was going on, the whole energy of the crowd. And I was doing what was already in me. So it was just a part of it. And it's one of those weird states that I bet it can be taught. I don't know if I'm mentally able to get to that, but it's like I would love to, and I would love to try to achieve that, to where you can turn it on and off. But I don't think that's realistic either, though. I don't know that you can realistically turn on in the zone and turn it off. I think it's just one of those things that comes on and comes off in certain days. Now, I think you kind of ebb and flow in and out of it, and you learn how to participate that way. But the days where it's just completely like blank and you're a part of it, man, those are days to cherish. And that's what makes, thinking back now 10 years, that night so special, is because you're like, that wasn't normal. That's just not normal. It's not a normal night. So man, it does put emphasis on like such a cool night.
I love the term. I wrote it down. You were grounded in the moment. And I think that is a skill that as coaches and players, we can work towards. It doesn't mean you're going to be in the zone and throw a perfect game every time, but like have a good routine,
Well, that's the thing. I think that's the thing too, is like, we think about being in the zone is like getting the result after it. That's not that way.
That ain't it.
You don't have to have the result. That's what we get messed up as so bad, is thinking, and that's what I chased at the end of my career. I chased that result. Yeah. Well, my career at the end of the year wasn't about the result. It was deeper than that. It was about what I could do for my other teammates, what I could do for myself. How could I grow as a person? So I think that's where the miscommunication in ourselves is. We're like, hey, no, we're supposed to figure out how to get in the zone to get that result, to get that big cookie at the end. And that's a false way to live, I think.
Yeah, because you're not in the moment, because you're thinking about what's going to happen in the end. So to you, it's almost this like, dude, I don't remember what happened a minute ago, and I don't remember what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen in another minute. I'm in this moment. I love that. Coach Ballgame, what do you got on that?
Well, I went back and watched. You can watch every out of that game on YouTube. It's like 8 minutes, and man, there's only been 23 of those things in the history of the game. So I'm getting nervous, especially. I mean, I'm watching it. I know exactly what's going to happen.
Same here.
Blanco makes that great catch in the 7th inning, all the way to the 9th inning, the last out. Third baseman fields it and takes this step back, Arias, and it's like, oh no, is he going to do it?
The step back was terrifying.
The step back was pretty terrifying. But
luckily, I couldn't see it. I didn't see that as quick. I just saw him like kind of cocked back, and once I knew he had it in his hand, I was like, oh, he delivered strikes all day long to first.
Yeah. He's
all day long, and you had a clean shaven belt. You had Crawford there picking the ball at short. How did Buster help you in that moment? I know you talked in your post game about how he threw down the number and you just you threw it, but how did he keep you level headed?
Well, he just kept doing what he was doing, and I was saying, like I was just a part of it. Like I never shook him off the entire night, and that was kind of my thing anyway. Like I trusted Buster, and I trusted all of our catchers, and I think in that I also trusted in my ability. So I trusted that they would throw a pitch to try to get the guy out. We're not doing it just for fun, but I also trusted the ability that I had to say, even if this is my worst pitch that day, well, I've still got confidence that I can get it out with that pitch. And that confidence would allow me to throw that with emphasis instead of just kind of hoping it up there.
So good. So good. Well, Chopper, as always, I've got a trivia competition, but you got any other questions before we get to some Matt Cain trivia?
I got a couple more questions. Maybe I'll just ask one of them. But just touch on that, being a good teammate. Part of being a good teammate is being prepared. So when you talk about Buster, that's the ultimate in preparation and just exuding this confidence and this calmness. That's one of the ultimate teammates. So the question I'm going to have that leans into that is, who is on your teammate Mount Rushmore? That's 4 faces. And you could do honorable mentions if you want, or you could just rattle off a bunch of dudes. It doesn't have to be a reason why they're on this Mount Rushmore. It could even be support staff if you wanted to throw me on there.
Oh, you want a little cookie? You need a little cookie?
No.
So
no.
we're doing teammates that I played with. Teammates that I played with. Well, first one I'll go with Wilson, and it's not because he's got an awesome beard, but Brian Wilson was awesome to figure out. He wasn't afraid to help me in a constructive and in a physical way to show me how to actually work hard and get things done. But when we went out and ran together, and he went and ran with me almost every day, the years that he was there and the years that I started really taking my workout serious, and then he'd come in and close the game. So he would go out and run with me, but we would go out and run, and I could see the physical ability that I was lacking and that he was achieving, but he would also talk to me. So it was like he was both sides of that, physical and spiritual and mental side of the game for me. And then I'd take Dave Roberts. You know, Dave Roberts was a guy that he did a tremendous job of teaching me the game as a young guy. He taught me that, hey, like, the biggest thing that you want out of this game at the end of it is the respect of your teammates. And I never took that for granted. I took it to heart, and it meant a lot to me that at the end of the day, when guys came in, they respected you. They knew that you were able to listen to them, and that if you had something to say, it was for a purpose. It was for a meaning. And I'd take Barry Zito. I'd take Barry Zito because I saw what it meant to be put up there above everyone at a time when some of the contracts weren't as crazy. Well, they weren't there yet. And he never complained about it. He never said a word about it. He went out, he put his nose down, he did his job, he put in the work, he put in the effort, and you can't take that away from him. And he's a true example of working and working and working and not getting the result that he put in with the time with us. But he had already done that. And then I would take Buster. I would take Buster because he's that calm combination of all of them. He's that one that knows how to push the buttons in the right way, in the wrong way. He's the one that can show you how to do it physically. He's the one that can show you how to do it mentally. And I'd probably have to put maybe him and Affelt together, because I think Affelt really, I know that's an extra, but I'd put Affelt in there because he started to teach me really what it meant to go mentally and inside to figure out how to find out what was the best part of me that could come out in the game, and to be able to spread that around the clubhouse, to my wife, to my kids, to myself, and just how to be an overall, good human being.
Love that. That's a tremendous group, Coach.
Oh, that's a tremendous answer, man. That might be our best.
That's our best Rushmore.
I'm a big fan of quirky, and I think there's good quirky and there's bad quirky. But did you have a quirkiest teammate in a good way?
Well, that's Affelt. Yeah, Affelt was the quirkiest of them all. Like from day one, when he stepped into the clubhouse, man, he was way too loud. He's left-handed. He thinks he could still hit when he's a reliever. He was just a goofball, man. He was nonstop all the time, way too caffeinated, and he was just that beauty of a personality that you couldn't get mad at, but you kind of got mad at, but then you loved him more for it. Like he brought that, and he was perfect for the bullpen.
Yeah, you kind of need that devil don't care mentality on the team. Somebody's got to have it, and they you love them. Sometimes you don't love them, but I love asking that question. This is called trivia time, and
no, this is not going to be good.
This is going to be great.
Well,
no.
Chopper is.
I'm the worst at trivia.
But this is about you. This is your life trivia, and it kind of.
Oh, so this is a dig me session. This is a dig
me session. Let's get it.
There might be one or two humbling stats there, but for the most part, it's a dig me sesh.
Oh, I'm used to those now.
Chopper's 1-10. He got his first W.
I beat Jock
against Jock Peterson, and in quotations, Jock said, "Sometimes I just forget stuff."
Yeah, I forget stuff. That was the quote. That was a great quote. I forget stuff.
We're gonna
in the moment.
Crank it up hot here and just answer it as soon as you know it out loud. First person to answer it right gets it. Listener, same to you. Try and answer that right before these two guys. What batter had the most sacrifice bunts off of Matt Cain? This is 4 total.
Can we get a team? Padres?
Wait, no, you can't do that.
Oh, you're going to know this?
Well, hang on. Maddox.
Most sack bunts.
Oh,
Correct. Greg
call.
Maddux
I
had
should have known
4
that.
sack bunts against Matt
And
Cain.
he probably had the highest batting average against me too.
He faced
He
you a
batted
lot.
nearly 500 times.
Yeah.
I mean, he batted nearly 500. Like I couldn't get him out.
Yeah, he's a good hitter.
He's
a good hitter.
And then I think he faced you a bunch too, and he had
That's what
your
I was
number.
going off of. Oh
Yep. Yeah.
No. I remember getting a sack bunt down and cheering for myself down the first baseline because I was so proud that I put the ball in play. It was so nasty to face him.
I was going to ask that. Like, yeah, like what? It was just the movement, like that two seam.
It was disgusting.
The change up.
Disgusting. Yeah. He threw me. I remember he threw me in San Diego. He threw me a first pitch sinker, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how did I take that? He threw me the exact same looking pitch, but 10 miles an hour slower, and I almost hurt myself because it was like it was a joke.
Yeah. He was my favorite growing up. Watching Maddux was my favorite. And it taught me that, like, in those big moments, instead of trying to throw harder, throw a changeup. You know what I mean? Like, you can do it the other way. And I tell my kids that to this day, like, you get in these pressure moments, have the ability to take a little bit off. It's easier than humping up beyond your ability.
Because the other guy's trying to do the same thing. He's trying to go deep. They're like, well, wait a minute. Now let's use his big weapon against him.
Got him.
And he was another pitch to contact guy, but it was soft contact. And then the what does Hunter Pence call it? Thought momentum. A great story about Maddux where I think the catcher comes out and they're talking about what pitch. And he's like, no, I'm going to throw this pitch and it's going to be a ball. And then I'm going to throw this pitch. It's going to be a strike and he's going to foul it off, pop it up to the third baseman. That's exactly what happened, you know? Like
he would
I've
tell
heard
Sean
stories
Dunston
like that about him so much.
Yeah, Sean Dunston tells the story about Maddux saying, like, hey, Sean, move 2 steps to your right. And then the next pitch, it's hit right in the center of his body. And he's like, what the heck? Maddux, dude.
And then Sean threw it in the dugout.
Yeah.
Sorry.
1-0 Matt Cain on April 18th.
No, we're done, right? We're done.
No, we
quite.
gotta go. We gotta give Chopper a chance. So on April 18th, 2012, Matt threw 9 shutout innings. Those 9 innings took 1 hour and 49 minutes. Dude. Who was the other pitcher that threw 10 innings of shutout ball? Cliff Lee is correct. Cliff Lee.
2-0.
2-0 Chopper.
Hey,
I still have faith in you.
I mean, yeah.
I was so sad I didn't get to hit in the bottom of the ninth because I wanted to walk it off. It wasn't.
Yeah, you did. What was the final? 1-0?
Yeah, I think we ended up winning. Yeah, I believe so.
The Giants won in the 11th. I don't know what the walk-off was, but
and it was still an hour and 49.
Dude, it was just all the Cliff threw was cutters inside and just saw you off all day.
Just broken bat. Yeah.
Oh. You knew it was coming. On June 13th, 2012, he threw the 22nd perfect game ever. He struck out 14. He also, Matt had a single and scored that game, by the way. Just a little fun fact.
Sorry about it.
But with 14 strikeouts, it tied the strikeout record in a perfect game. With who?
Koufax.
No, Nolan Ryan.
The correct answer is Sandy Koufax, 3-0 Matt Cain.
You think Nolan Ryan threw a perfect game?
I don't know. He threw like 12 one-hitters. I know that.
I know.
So I was going with it. That's first thought.
Wait, well, I don't think he threw any perfect games, did he?
No, probably not.
He had 7 no-nos and 0 perfect games.
And 7 one-hitters. Wow.
Yeah. He walked too many.
Yeah, that'll happen. Too many trying to punch too many tickets.
Well, he did. He did.
He did.
Chopper, there's still a chance for you to win.
I got to go on a run. Okay, I got to win the next 4 in a row. It's been done.
What hitter did Matt Cain face the most in his MLB career? 91 plate appearances.
Carlos Gonzalez.
Incorrect.
It's a Dodger, I'm guessing. I'm guessing it's a Dodger.
It's easier than Matt Kemp then.
Ooh.
Incorrect.
Is it a Dodger? Wrong. Coach
no, Adrian Gonzalez.
Correct.
Hey, Agon.
I couldn't say Dodger. That would give it away. Agon with 91 plate appearances. You had the correct last name, Gonzalez there, but Adrian Gonzalez, 91 plate appearances. You had a lot of battles against him.
Oh, yeah.
But what hitter clipped you the most? 6 bombs.
Tulowitzki.
Correct.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Tulo got you.
And the sad thing was, is I think if we had faced Stanton more, he would have done it, because I think he had 4.
Dude.
And
Really?
we barely
Yeah.
faced him. Yeah. Yeah, I think he broke one of the walls at the new Marlins Stadium. One of the balls he hit off me.
That's a strong man.
Oh
Yeah.
Giancarlo's good too. Stan.
Oh, he's not bad.
Remember that guy?
He's not bad.
Yeah, he was all right too. Yeah, he's a little younger than Mike.
Now this is a toughie, but I actually met this guy, and there's a great story about this guy. What hitter did you bean the most? You hit this guy 3 times.
It's going to be Matt Holliday.
It's not. And here's your hint. He's one of only 2 guys to hit a grand slam on the first pitch he ever saw in Major League Baseball.
That's
the other guy was
crazy.
Daniel Nava.
I was just gonna say Daniel Nava, because I know that's one of them.
I hit him 3 times.
Grand slam in their first at bat, first pitch.
Yeah, he's one of 2 guys to do it.
I'm gonna guess
Nick
Puig. Bad guess, but like why?
No, never hit it. I don't think I ever hit him.
You didn't hit Puig.
Initials are
Missed out.
one of very few MLB players with the initials KK.
Kevin Kiermaier,
Close.
obviously, right? With the KK. Kevin Kiermaier wasn't close, so Kevin's close.
Kevin is correct.
Yeah.
Last name Kuzmanoff. Kevin Kuzmanoff.
Kevin Kuzmanoff. Kuz, Padres. Indians.
Oh,
Padres.
that didn't count though. He was on. He pretty much lived over the plate with that little elbow.
Yeah, right. With the pad.
I threw him nothing but heaters in.
Yeah.
Did not want to throw him anything. Yeah, no, I never wanted to let him get extended.
Kuzmanoff.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Him and Nava, the only 2 guys to ever hit a granny on the first pitch they ever saw.
Kuzmanoff had an unbelievable mohawk when I played against him at Kinston. In Kinston, was that Iowa? I don't know if that's Iowa. Kinston, Ohio, maybe. I don't know. Remember Kinston? You played in Kinston?
Yeah, just keep going. Just say keep saying Kinston.
Kinston, Kansas City.
Yeah, something like that.
There it is.
Who'd Matt strike out the most? Now, he struck Adrian Gonzalez out 17 times, but he struck somebody else out 17 times as well. So who's this other guy?
It was Cargo.
Cargo's correct.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Cargo.
You knew that.
Yeah.
Cargo would be laughing to the plate because he was like, "You're going to strike me out."
Just high heaters? You just go heaters at the belt?
A lot of changeups.
Okay. I can see it. Yeah, that's a good hitter.
And then in. Yeah.
Just up and down, up and in, and changeups down and away. That plays.
Yeah.
I love that.
But it was just always scary though when it was in Colorado, because it really didn't matter if he touched it, it was going to go.
It's gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Matt Cain hit 7 bombs in his major league career. What pitch count did he hit the most? Dingers.
Oh, first pitch.
Incorrect.
Oh, I thought I was such a good ambusher. I thought
you did have 2 ambushers, but you've got 3 in this count.
1-0.
Incorrect.
2-1.
Incorrect.
Devastating. It's probably 1-1, Matt. Say 1-1.
Correct. You get it, Chopper. It's 1-1.
I mean, yeah, I just went with all the counts. So there's 13 of them. So I would have got there.
You can't go 1 ball, 1 strike on Matt Cain. He's going to clip you.
He might.
Yeah.
Okay. And just to close us out, I loved all your complete games and all your shutouts, but to put it in perspective, for back in the olden times, who has the most complete games all time?
Cy Young.
Correct.
Let's
with
go.
749.
Dang. That's insane.
Second all time. And we did a name draft, baseball name draft. We forgot this guy. Second all time is Pud Galvin.
Pud Galvin
with 646.
Pud Galvin's a good name.
And then, I mean, you had a ton of shutouts as well. Who's got the most shutouts all time?
Say Cy Young again, no?
Incorrect.
Gaylord? No.
Wasn't
Mr.
Gaylord.
Perry? Bob Gibson?
Or would it be
Nope.
Nolan?
Nope.
No. Shutout.
This guy's
Warren
got 100,
Spahn.
110 shutouts. Now you're getting into the era with Warren Spahn.
Thank you.
WJ.
Walter Johnson.
The big train. Walter Johnson's got 110 shutouts.
A lot of shutouts.
Unbelievable. I think Matt Cain is the Cy Young and the Walter Johnson of the 2000s. How about
You love
that?
to hear that.
That's silly.
Yeah, you love to hear that. That is silly. And the only, like I said, the only blemish was that one fateful night in Hagerstown when just
Tell
a
me
kid
about
with
what did you do, Chopper?
wide-eyed kid from the mean streets of Orange County, California. I mean, I was 4 years older than this young man. It's not really fair, but college senior versus a high school kid. And I think I was 2 for 3 with a single and a double. I don't know. Matt's the one that told me about it. I was like, we ended up looking it up. Remember one time we looked it up.
We had some fun with it. So yeah. Ownage. He's got ownage on me.
All it is.
Yeah.
Matt, you're the best, dude. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah.
Coach Wall, you got anything else? Like, he dominated me in trivia.
No, he dominated. I like to go deep with one to close us out.
Let's do
I know
it.
you got daughters. I got 2 daughters. So you got any daddy-daughter advice for Coach Ballgame here? Mine's 8 and 4, and they love attention. They love playing makeup and dolls. But what's your daddy-daughter advice to me?
Ask questions. Yeah, just keep asking questions.
I'm gonna write that one down.
I'm writing that down too. That's for me as well, man.
Ask questions.
Man.
Yeah. Well, instigate the engagement there. I love that.
Yeah. And that can be in any moment. Ask questions. See where it gets you.
Yep. Ask questions. Simple as that.
And as a dad too, like your kids, they'll appreciate that. He's like, hey, dad cares, whatever the question is, like, hey, dad cares. And I think that's half the battle too. Like, kids will make bad decisions sometimes because they just don't think mom and dad care. And, I love that, man. That's a great answer.
It's good.
A wise man.
I'm always charmed whenever they ask me questions. How was your day, Dad?
Right?
Wow, that's great. Yeah.
Because they're
part of that's
almost looking for the
trained.
same thing.
Yeah. Part of that's trained though. Like, I know my son, like every time someone says, how are you? He drops the good, how are you? And like the first few times I was really impressed, but now I'm just like, wait a second. Him and all of his friends, like somewhere along the line, one of those kids is like, hey, let's reciprocate it. And it plays and you get a really good response from that. But hey, create good habits. I don't hate it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, buddy.
Great.
Attaboy.
Matt, great job, man. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for taking the time.
No, man. Do it again.
Good luck with the horses for Chelsea,
yeah.
and then for you with racing and golf. And you're just the best, man. You're one of my top favorite dudes on the planet. You're on my Mount Rushmore. And I told Coach Ballgame about the Matt Cain man cave that was in construction until we backed out of that house.
That's part of it.
I appreciate you, bud. You're the best. Have a great day.
No, man. Y'all have a good one.
Appreciate you, bud.
Yeah, but
Matt
There
Cain.
it is.
Matthew Cain, the horse.
Man, the horse, the big daddy, the big sugar. Man, that some of the answers he had were just so spot on, great. You can tell why he was a leader in the clubhouse.
Yeah, honesty, man. Like you probably have a handful of dudes that threw perfect games that would just say, yeah, man, I was on it today, and I had my good stuff going, and challenge hitter, and just it would take the credit. And Matt just honestly said, dude, I was just a part of something really special and just lucky to be there. That's who he is.
Yep. He was thanking all the fans that were there. He's like, when Blanco caught the diving catch in 7th inning, I was just like, I
right. Like he was a fan.
Every fan, we're all in this together. I was like a fan. But yeah, what a great one. That good get right there, Coach.
Who do we got next week? Are we lined up next week?
We're lined up. We've got the founders of a company called Dugout Mugs, and they're
wait.
baseball players, and they've partnered with every Major League Baseball team, and they make beer mugs out of wooden bats.
Why wouldn't you?
It's pretty awesome. So a little shift from the norm, and then maybe in April we'll get some players going again. They've got Tuesday mornings off. They're not going to play till there's no Tuesday morning game. So
no such thing.
we can get them going. But I think we can close up shop on the topics at the top there. We're talking about, our kids want to quit the game, and players with that attention deficit disorder, or just lacking engagement. And what I was hitting on was what you were: keep it moving, keep the action going. And you got to know each player, and you got to be sensitive to that kid that doesn't do well in right field. And that doesn't mean put them at first base where they're going to get hit with a baseball, but maybe you have an assistant coach out there tossing fly balls to them, or just talking to them about how's life. I think that's a big part of it too, is those kids that don't seem interested. There's something way deeper going on, and maybe it takes just to sit down on the bench and like an uncle, like, hey man, how's life? What did you have for breakfast? Just ask questions, like Matt Cain said.
Yeah, man. Got a kid who's in our program who made some bad decisions, right? And some questionable things, and was talking to my athletic director about him. And, just like, it's on me because I didn't do a better job getting to know the kid. And he's like, man, he told me his situation. And it's like, a lot of this stuff is acting out because he's adopted and doesn't have a lot of self-worth. And it's like, took me from where I was going to like a 180 of like, okay, I need to love on that kid, and I need to make sure he knows that his God loves him, and he's fearfully and wonderfully made, and he matters. Right. So as coaches, like, man, it's so important. It's so important. We get so caught up in wins and losses. Like, knock it off. Stop. These are humans with souls. These are future fathers. These are future leaders in our community, man. Like, we have to empower them. We have to love them, and we have to. I'm getting emotional thinking about it, man.
Well, and I think the quiet times are just as important as the loud ones. The rah-rah is important and very necessary for, I think, the majority. But those quiet moments where maybe you just sit beside them and put your hand on their shoulder and ask them a simple question is really necessary too. And they're not getting that anywhere else, and they're acting out on trauma that they've had. And there's something cool about the coach. Like, they'll listen to coach, especially somebody who's fun and is interested in them. So it's a tough job. You gotta juggle a bunch of different things, get a starting lineup card out and get everybody in the right position, get the pitching ready to go. But then there's that kid in right field that is the most important. And you gotta stay in tune with that too. So no, you're right. There's a lot that goes into it. Like, the rest of my day is basically building towards the game tonight. It's getting over to Office Max and getting my lineups and everything printed out, and all of my charts and graphs. I got 6 or 7 charts going every game, and making sure the stopwatches are ready, and the pens are ready, and the pencils are sharpened, and the candy is ready. We have red vines and all kinds of stuff. It's a candy shop. There's about $40 worth of candy every game. Double Bubble, Sour Patch Kids, red vines, Skittles, sunflower seeds, so we do Squirt. Squirt. And as coaches out there, build a village. You can't do all that on your own. So and some parents just need a little nudge. Like, you're really good with kids and you're just sitting there in your lawn chair. I need you to talk to this kid. I need you to grab some bubble gum, and I think it's necessary to build that village around you. It'll really help. I'm doing it out here. I'm trying to find assistant coaches because I can't run a game of 9-on-9 and help the kid that wants to leave. There are moments where I can't do it all. I can't do both. So you got to build a village of like-minded people and build that culture up. So
like-minded is the key too, because but when you're building a team, you're only as strong as your weakest link. So if you just settle on a coach because you need numbers, but he's not the same vibe that you bring, that is not it, and that's really important. And you see that at every level, so like coaches, like, do not settle. Like, have expectations, communicate your expectations with your coaches, and make sure, because they set the vibe, man. They set that culture, and the kids will notice if you settle. We've talked about this in the past. If you settle with a coach because you need it, man, that's the wrong message. You got to make sure you're dialed in, and you'll find them. They're there. Like you said, there's a parent on the other side of the fence that's got what it takes. Just needs a little bit of training from coach. But if they got the heart and the passion for the kids, man, get them on the field, man. Get them on the field. Oh, they don't know the game. So what? Teach them the game. That's your job, coach.
Outstanding. We'll close it out with one last question from a listener. Their son's lunging. They can't get him out of lunging at the ball. And I think that can stem from a few different reasons, but I'm sure you've seen it. I'm sure you've done it. I've definitely done it. What's a tip for that kid to stop lunging at the ball when he's in the batter's box?
A couple things. You can have them stride to a softer front foot. But what I would say initially is I would just get them a little bit wider in their stance and tell them to use their hands. That would be the easiest of the options to me. Get their hands where you want to launch from and just have a little bit of rhythm and just let them work on a no stride for a bit. And then, as you know, as a hitter, like when you're going good, you can have all kinds of movements. It all works and it flows and that rhythm stays even with the biggest exaggerated moves. Then there's other times when you don't feel right or you're lunging or you're doing these things getting out of position. It's like, hey, just get to a good 50-50 grounded position and just throw that back hip and let it eat.
Perfect. I use a ball and I call it the chin ball, and I'll put it right underneath the player's chin in between their stance, and I'll say, stay there. Right. You know, your hips can load, they can explode. But if that chin is moving too far back or too far in front of that chin ball, then we gotta slow it down a little bit. And I think that's part of it. When you're in practice, slow it down before you speed it back up when you're learning something brand new. I'll also get some boxes, put your feet in some boxes, right? Some cardboard boxes, and just hit balls off the tee. And if you're lunging, the boxes are going to let you know pretty quick you're going to fall. So there's that.
Use
and
the
then
sun too. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go coach.
And lastly, just a lot of times I used to lunge because I was so antsy, and just a mental thing where I'd get into the game, and I think antsy is anxiety driven. So just breathing, taking that deep breath. You hear the cliches, let it travel, let it get deep. It's way easier said than done. But if you can turn down your give a crap meter a little bit to okay, so what if I'm late? I swing and miss, I strike out, I'm late. It's not the end of the world. But I know guys like Joey Votto and Rizzo, they get 2 strikes on them. They choke up, they widen out, and they be late. And you know, if they strike out late, so be it. But I think that kind of calms the nerves there. It's okay to strike out. It's gonna happen. Mike Trout did it 3 times in a row. Then he hit a walk-off bomb. So that's that.
Yeah. Another couple tools for coaches too. You can video them. So it's like, if they may not feel it. It's like, okay, well, we all have cell phones. So like you can video it real quick and show them. You can use the sunshine if you don't have your phone, and you can say, hey, get to where the sun's on your back. So now you have this shadow, and you can say, do your load like you normally do. And they'll see, like, where's your weight? Oh, dude, it's all on your front foot. We got nothing left. Like as hitters, you watch every big leaguer, they get into that back hip, right? They hinge in that back hip, and that's where their power comes from. And then another thing too is just how's the kid's timing, right? Like when are they starting their load? And I noticed we didn't say starting their swing. When are they starting their load? Because once you're really late, to your point, coach, that comes into being rushed instead of being on time. And I like the term early and smooth, where you can kind of sneak up on the ball. So there's a lot of different ways to attack it, but go simple. Go simple, right? You got to start simple with the kid and see if that works.
I think that's what you did against Matt Cain.
Yeah, you're not wrong. That was my best year at pro ball. That was in the Sally League. And seriously, I was hitting 180 after the first month. And then I went to a 2-strike approach for the rest of the year right away. I got wide. I got really simple with where I put my hands. I used to have this big leg kick with all this movement, and I tucked in my elbow and just got really simple and ended up hitting 323, leading the league in hits. And more importantly, went 2 for 3 off Matt Cain.
Let's go.
Simple.
Loved it. Nice doing a little doubleheader with you, brother.
Where are we going to get these hats, Coach? Where are we going to get these hats? Everyone's asking. They want to know.
Come on, get it on coachballgame.com, and you click on the button merch, get you a hoodie, get you an Attaboy shirt, Attagirl tank top. It's all there. And I'll be going around the country for the next few months. I hit Utah in a couple weeks, then I go to Nashville, and I'll do some sandlots there in mid-April. Toronto, North Carolina, Milwaukee. We're all over the place, man. We're like the Rolling Stones.
Spreading love, spreading joy, raking every day.
Love it.
Love it.
Keep raking.
You're the best. Ooh, that was a good love it. Like an attaboy challenge. That was a love it challenge. We said it at the same time.
Love it.
You're the best. Have a great day. Have a great week. Let's rake. Appreciate you, brother.
And ask questions. Matt Cain.
Bang.